Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back. I have a wonderful chapter book that we are going to start together today, and it is Junie B. Jones' Dumb Bunny. Now, if you guys don't know much about Junie B. Jones, I need to tell you all about this incredible character. She's a little bit naughty. She's in first grade in this book, and she gets herself into lots of trouble in this series. There's a little girl in her class named May, and they do not get along. And so a lot of the trouble that she gets into has to do with May. And you will see May in this story, and you will get to witness some of the mischief that they get themselves into through their arguments and disputes. So Junie B. Jones is a character that we do not want to act like, but it's certainly fun to read about her and her fun world. Her teacher's name is Mr. Scary, and there are lots of fun friends in her class, in their first grade class, Mr. Scary's room. In this book, Junie B. Jones is going to get invited along with the rest of her class to a really fun party. And so not all of the action is going to happen inside of her classroom. We're going to change settings. We're going to leave the school, and we're going to find Junie B. Jones getting herself into some trouble outside of the classroom the way she normally gets into trouble inside of the classroom. All of these books are written by Barbara Park. Her name is first up here above the name of Denise Brunkus, who is the illustrator. The author's name is always going to come first when you see two names on the front cover of a book. And so I know that Barbara wrote the words and Denise drew the pictures. This book is so funny, and I love reading about Junie B. Jones. She makes mistakes all the time. She makes up words all the time. She's overly dramatic and pouts and huffs and puffs. And maybe some of you think, hey, that sounds like my sister or my brother. Or maybe you think it sounds like you. In any case, it's really fun to read about this hilarious character in this chapter book. A chapter book is a book that is broken into sections or chapters. So you don't read the whole thing from beginning to end at one sitting like you do with a picture book. This is a bigger kid book, and it has a lot more words and a lot less pictures, but it's really fun to be able to have more descriptions and more activities happening in this book than you normally do in a picture book. So I hope that you will have so much fun going on this adventure with me as we read about Junie B. Jones' Dumb Bunny. And what do you think she thinks of being in this bunny costume? She's not too happy. She's going to be cranky a lot in this book, and that makes it all the more hilarious. I hope that you will enjoy this book as we read it together. The chapters will be broken down into different videos, and so you can follow along with this whole playlist, and each video will have a different chapter all about Junie B. Jones' Dumb Bunny. And I hope that this book makes you love this character so much that you want to read all the other books in her series. And there are so many of them. There are over 30 books in this series. That's a lot of books that you could read all about this fun, silly little girl. So I hope that you will fall in love with Junie B the same way that millions of other readers have. Join me as we read together about this silly girl in Dumb Bunny. Come on. Junie B. Jones, Dumb Bunny. Now, when I first open a chapter book, I can find a table of contents. The table of contents tells me what the book contains. It tells me the different sections or chapters that are going to be in this story. I can see that this book is going to have 10 chapters. Chapter 1 is called Dumb Bunnies and Clucks, and it starts on page 1. Now, I don't know why it's called Dumb Bunnies and Clucks, but by the time we finish that chapter, you should understand why the author gave it that name. Then, in my next video, we will read chapter 2, which is called Clothes and Nubs, and it will begin on page 14. So this is what the author provides for us so that we know the different chapters that are going to be in our chapter book before we even start reading it. Now, we are about ready to jump into the story, but before we do, I want to make you aware of something. So if you look right here at the way these letters are written, and then they go on to the next page, and they are still written the same way. But then look right here. Can you see how these words look differently than these words? Yeah, that's because whenever I see writing like this, I know that Junie B. Jones is writing in her journal. In her first grade class, her teacher, Mr. Scary, gives them assignments where they have to write in their journal. And so here I can see May writing in her journal, and Junie B. Jones has her journal open on her desk. So whenever I see the writing that looks a little bit different or uses a different font, that's what we call the different types of letter writing, that will tell me that Junie B. Jones is writing in her journal. This will be the way the words look when it's the regular part of the story. And then do you see how these look a little different as well? They don't look like this, and they look a little different than this. When I see this, I know that that's what's going on in Junie B. Jones's mind. That tells me that that's what she is thinking. And so it's really helpful that the author uses different fonts or different letter writing styles to tell me different things are happening in the story. All right, boys and girls, now that you understand that, I think we are ready to begin. Here we go with Chapter 1, Dumb Bunnies and Clucks. Monday. Dear first grade journal, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny. I am not allowed to say dumb bunny on account of my teacher heard me call May that name on the playground, and he said for me to knock it off. Only here is something I just thought of. Even if I can't say dumb bunny out loud, I can still think it inside my head because heads are silent, which is what I like about heads. I am going to try it out right now. I put down my pencil and looked at May. Then I squinted my eyes real teensy, and I thought that name to just myself. Dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny. May looked suspicious at me. What are you doing, Junie Jones? Why are you squinting like that? She asked. Stop it right now. Stop that squinting. I paused my squint. I'm not just squinting at you, May. I'm also thinking a name about you inside my head, but you don't even know what name I'm thinking because heads are silent, which is what I like about heads, I said. May frowned. I started my squint again. Dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, I thought. After I finished, I brushed my hands together, very satisfied. There, that ought to hold me for a while, I said. May kept on frowning. Then, blam! She exploded out of her chair, and she zoomed to the front of the room. Mr. Scary, Junie B called me that name again. I know she did, only she thought it inside her head, and that is just plain sneaky. Mr. Scary was writing at his desk. He closed his eyes and did a big breath. May, what are our 3 new rules about tattling? He asked. You and I came up with 3 new rules to control your tattling. Remember? Can you tell me what they are, please? May stood there for a real long time. She did not like the 3 new rules, I believe. Finally, she started to say them. Rule number 1, count to 20 before I tattle, she grumped. Mr. Scary nodded. Yes, May, excellent. That's the first rule. Go on. Rule number 2, said May. If I still feel like tattling, count to 20 again. Mr. Scary did a thumbs up. Yes, good. And rule number 3? May sucked in her cheeks. Rule number 3, if I still feel like tattling after that, go home, eat dinner, go to bed, wake up, eat breakfast, come back to school, raise my hand to tattle, then put my hand over my mouth, and please be quiet, she said. Now, boys and girls, I'm going to stop here for just a quick moment to explain what's happening here. Whenever I see these 3 dots in a story, that's called an ellipse. And whenever I see it, I know that the author is telling me to slow down in my reading and pause. The author is using it here to tell me that she doesn't want me to read it. If I still feel like tattling after that, go home, eat dinner, go to bed. She doesn't want me to read it fast like that. She wants me to take my time and go slowly and have pauses in between. Sometimes characters talk like that when they're thinking about something or when they're surprised about something. But in this case, I think May is using these pauses because she doesn't really like these rules and she's hesitating before she says all of them. So that's what we mean. That's what we're supposed to do whenever we see these 3 dots, which is called an ellipse. So as you are reading, when you see those 3 dots, that's what you should do too. All right, jumping back in. Mr. Scary clapped his happy hands. Perfect, you've got it. Those are exactly the rules we talked about, aren't they? He said. I'm very proud of you for remembering them. He stood up and walked her back to her chair. You have a great memory for rules, May, but the next step is to actually follow the rules, okay? And I don't believe you counted to 20 this time, did you? I leaned over and tapped on him. I can vouch for that, I said. There was definitely no counting. Mr. Scary frowned at me. I'll deal with you in a minute, Miss Jones, he said. You and I are going to review the rules on name calling. I did a gulp. But I didn't even call her a name, Mr. Scary. All I did was think a name in my head, I said. May flashed her angry eyes. No, you did not just think it, Junie Jones. You told me you were thinking it, and that is exactly like saying it almost, she said. She went on. Plus, you didn't even think it quietly. You thought it so loud that I could hear it in your brain. May looked up at Mr. Scary. My ears were tested last year in kindergarten, she said. The nurse said I can hear as good as a North American barn owl. Mr. Scary stared at her a real long time. No, May. No, I'm sorry, he said, finally. But the nurse did not tell you that. You do not hear as well as a North American barn owl. May squirmed in her chair a little bit. Squirming is what happens after fibbing. At least that has always been my experience. After a minute, May put her head on her desk and she covered up with her sweater. Mr. Scary bent down next to me. And as for you, Miss Jones, this is the absolute last time that I ever want to talk to you about name calling, he said. I don't want you to say dumb bunny, or think dumb bunny, or sing dumb bunny, or hum dumb bunny, or write dumb bunny. Do you understand? I tapped my fingers on my desk. But then what am I supposed to do when May is mean to me? I asked. I have to call her something or else she won't even know I'm mad. I thought for a second, then I clapped my hands together. Hey, I know. Maybe I could just think the dumb part in my head and I'll call her just plain Bunny, I said. Would just plain Bunny be okay with you? May popped up from under her sweater. No, 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 she grouched. Just plain Bunny isn't nice either. My friend named Sheldon stood up. Bunny isn't nice? How come Bunny isn't nice? He asked. I have an aunt named Bunny, and she's very, very nice. Sheldon looked at Mr. Scary. My Aunt Bunny is married to my Uncle Vern, he said. Aunt Bunny has a lot of... Mr. Scary quick held up his hand. Yes, Sheldon, we know. You've told us many interesting things about your Aunt Bunny, but right now we don't need to hear any more about your Aunt Bunny's skull tattoos, said Sheldon. Please sit down, said Mr. Scary. Across the room, Lucille sprang right up. Well, I love bunnies, she said. And so this subject is perfect timing for me because I'm having a big party at my giant house on Saturday and all of you are invited to come. She bounced up and down real excited. And guess what else? A very famous bunny is going to be there to meet you. Guess who it is, everyone? Guess the bunny. Guess the bunny, she said. Room 1 thought real hard. Then all of us started to guess at once. Bugs Bunny? Buster Bunny? The Bionic Bunny? Thumper? We guessed. Lucille rolled her eyes. No, she said. My bunny is way more famous than those dumb cartoon guys. We guessed some more. The Tricks Bunny? The Velveteen Rabbit? Peter Rabbit. we asked. Lucille stamped her foot. No, she said again. What's wrong with you people? It's the Easter Bunny. Haven't you ever heard of the Easter Bunny? She reached into her desk and pulled out some fancy envelopes. Then she waved them around real angry. Do you see these invitations, huh? Do you? She asked. These are invitations to an Easter egg hunt at my rich, expensive house. And I was going to pass them out at lunch, but if you dumb clucks never even heard of the Easter Bunny, just never mind the whole thing. After that, she did a huffy and she flounced back in her chair. Mr. Scary hurried over there. Then he quick got her up and he took her by the hand and he walked her into the hall. They were gone a real long time. When they finally came back, Lucille said she is sorry for calling us dumb clucks. That is some kind of insult, apparently. Then she took the envelopes out of her desk again and she gave everyone an invitation. And so, yippee, yippee, hooray, hooray, room 1 is going to a party. So that is the end of chapter 1. You can see that the words have stopped, and when I turn the page, it will be chapter 2. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to stop there for now. If you would like to continue reading on chapter 2, you can join me in my next video on my playlist under Junie B. Jones' Dumb Bunny. Or just simply click next if you are already on my playlist. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time for chapter 2 of Junie B. Jones' Dumb Bunny. Bye!